Chapter 200 leads directly off of Sukuna telling Yuji that he is the Fallen. Megumi notices that Itadori had a strange reaction, and Itadori asks Hana with probably one of the guiltiest expressions I've ever seen if he could take the sofa because he wasn't feeling well. He then tries to signal to Megumi that he's the Fallen with a series of poses, dance moves, I ain't too sure, and unsurprisingly Megumi looks lost as fuck. But after thinking about it, Megumi finally realizes that Yuji was trying to tell him that he's the Fallen, and this is an insane dilemma. Tengen mentioned that there are 3 possible ways to unseal Gojo from the prison realm. The black rope, which Miguel used all of, the inverted spear of heaven, which has been lost after the fight with Toji, and of course Angel. They need to unseal Gojo with Angel, but in order to unseal him, Yuji will have to die so that Angel will cooperate with them. Yuji also noticed that Sukuna didn't start trolling and just say it out loud, so he assumes that Angel has the ability to permanently annihilate Sukuna without any resurrection. Now I might be tripping, but in the page underneath, there's a flashback of Sukuna during the Fearsome Womb arc, as well as text saying, "Are you still underestimating me? Have you forgotten that I've already died once?" I don't know if that was part of the flashback or Sukuna's response to Yuji's thoughts, but it's interesting nonetheless. I personally can't see Yuji dying for the sake of unsealing Gojo, though I do 100% see him dying by the end of the series. By the way, if you are enjoying the content, a subscribe would be much appreciated. And with all of this in mind, it seemingly leaves no options for Gojo to get unsealed, apart from one that I can think of, being Yuta copying Angel's technique and unsealing the prison realm from there. But I feel like there may be a case of Yuta being unable to copy the technique just because Angel seems like a very different character from the others that he's copied techniques off of. Megumi also realizes that Yuji will willingly sacrifice his life to unseal Gojo, and to be honest, from Yuji's standpoint it makes a lot of sense as to why he would. In Shibuya, he realizes that Sukuna is nothing but malicious, and that because he's a vessel, he's a threat to those that he cherishes around him, and he truly believes that he deserves to die. The trade-off being Gojo, the person who has the best shot of ending the culling game, being unsealed, and more of 50% of Sukuna disappearing. The choice is relatively obvious for Yuji. During both Megumi and Yuji's internal monologue, we see Angel saying that there's an astonishing number of people entering the colony, and Hana uses her I don't know, to see that 807 entities have entered the colony. Before that though, we get to see a flashback of February 2018. For reference, Shibuya started on the 31st of October 2018, and the first chapter tells us that the main series, where Megumi couldn't find the finger, was June 2018, meaning that everything that happens past this point within this chapter all occurred before the main events of the main series. Kenjaku is seen in front of multiple government officials explaining the principles of cursed energy. Negative emotions and stress accumulate and turn into cursed energy, and every citizen in Japan leaks out small amounts of cursed energy even if they aren't a Jujutsu sorcerer. When cursed energy itself accumulates, it gives birth to what we know as cursed spirits. Kenjaku then goes on to say that those who can control cursed energy and perform supernatural feats are called Jujutsu sorcerers, and that this phenomenon is practically exclusive to the Japanese. The use of the phrase practically exclusive opens up the possibility of us potentially seeing more foreign sorcerers. In the prologue, we got to see Miguel, a Jujutsu sorcerer that hails from Africa, utilizing an extremely powerful special grade curse tool. I don't think that this is something that would be mentioned and not expanded on in the future, and depending on how long the series goes on for, I do think that there is potential to see different Jujutsu clans across the world, and even cursed spirits based on the folklore of respective countries, as we've seen that's the case in Japan. But I could just be waffling, I don't know. We see Orame handing out glasses that have been made into a cursed tool, something that Maki used to wear in order to identify cursed spirits. We also get information about something that I don't think we've been explicitly told. Supernatural events caused by sorcerers are difficult to perceive for normal human beings. We were told that curtains are put up so citizens can't see cursed spirits or Jujutsu sorcerers, but in the hidden inventory arc, Gojo asks if it matters if regular people see them. By difficult to perceive, I'd imagine that seeing someone use a cursed technique would probably just look extremely weird, but I feel like it varies from technique to technique. For something like Boogie Woogie, I'd imagine that yeah, it would probably look strange without context because we're just seeing this guy swap places with random shit, but I can't imagine that it would be difficult to perceive, if you get what I mean. In contrast, something like Gojo's Limitless would probably be difficult to perceive as you're just seeing space get manipulated and distorted and things getting absolutely erased. After the politicians put their glasses on, we see that Kenny has filled the room with these centipede insect looking cursed spirits. Obviously some people start tweaking and one guy thinks it's VR, but this man called Cyrus, who is the assistant secretary to the US DOE, has what I can only describe as the most American take on the situation. He compares Jujutsu sorcerers and cursed energy to a gold mine, something that can be subject to capitalism, and if they miss out on it, America will fall behind the rest of the world. Kenny goes on to tell them that cursed energy and spirits are invisible to cameras, and then shows them footage that Mekamaru collected with his puppets when he was a mole in Jujutsu High. We see a panel of Todo, Sukuna, Gojo, and Nanami, likely footage captured of whenever these individuals were fighting. Cyrus goes on to compare cursed energy itself to things like fossil fuels and energy source, something that can completely replace every other form of energy. The cleanest energy of human history, which is extremely ironic. Cursed energy is anything but clean. It's born of negative emotions, and without any reverse curse technique, it's a purely destructive force. Cyrus goes on to state that Gojo could probably power a whole country by himself, as if we needed another testament to his strength. It's been set up for global powers to seize Jujutsu sorcerers as a resource and utilize them for energy and samples for experiments. Given the fact that global superpowers are global superpowers, they probably use cursed energy for war or use Jujutsu sorcerers as soldiers, which is something I talked about on the first video on this channel. All in all, this chapter was really good. Hopefully this doesn't get taken down. If you enjoyed, leave a like, and yeah, have a nice day.